Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to be sharing with you how to cut and sew this stylish Zara dress with a layered ruffle. So if this is something you like, please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up. So let's dive right into today's video. So to start, here is my fabric and I've already cut this out. And to fold your dress is your hip circumference divided by 4 plus your sewing allowance. My hip is 40 divided by 4 plus my sewing allowance. So for the total length of my dress, I'm making use of 30 inches plus 1 inch because the dress is a very short dress. Next, I'm going to go ahead to mark ½ inch, and from there I'll place my tape, mark my shoulder to bust, which is 9, my shoulder to under bust, which is 12, and then go ahead to mark my shoulder to waistline, which is 17 inches. So after that, I also marked 7 inches to get my hip point. If you're a much taller person, you should consider using 8 inches at this point. So after I'm done marking, I'll just go ahead and I will label all those parts out. So I'll go ahead and I'll mark my shoulder divided by 2. My shoulder is 14 divided by 2. I have 7. Add little ½ inch because of the sewing allowance. So I came down by 1 inch, and after that I'll go ahead to mark my neckline of 3.5 inches for this. So after this, I'll go ahead to connect from that shoulder slant to the 3.5 inches for my shoulder slope. For the neck depth, I'm using 2.5 inches because the neckline is a bit high. So if you don't want yours to be too high or a bit tricky, go ahead to use 3 inches. So after I'm done marking this, I'll mark my armhole. To get that is your bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches. Mine is 7 inches. And I'll go ahead to mark what I have back on my shoulder, which is my shoulder divided by 2. This is to enable me have a straight line from my shoulder down to my armhole line. So I'll go ahead to divide my armhole into 2 by folding my tape. And after that, I'll go ahead and mark, coming by ½ inch. Go ahead to mark my bust circumference divided by 4. I'll connect from the shoulder to the ½ inch and down to my armhole this way. So after I'm done connecting, the next step I'm going to take is to go ahead to insert my body circumference. I'll mark my bust circumference divided by 4. I'm using 1.5 inches for my sewing allowance. I'll mark. Go ahead to mark my under bust circumference divided by 4 and mark my sewing allowance. Mark my waist circumference divided by 4 and add my sewing allowance. Here, I already folded my fabric with my hip circumference divided by 4 plus your sewing allowance. So at the lower part, you either go in by 1.5 inches or 2 inches. So now I'll just go ahead and connect. So if you're making this dress, it's best for you to use a stretchy fabric. You're going to have a better result and it will be easier for you to sit down with the dress because it is short. And to make this dress, you need about 2 yards. So this is me reconnecting it down to 1.5 at that point because I felt 2 inches will be too fitted because my fabric is not stretchy. So after this, I'll go ahead to cut this out. So when I was recording, I lost a clip of my video. So if you notice at the neckline, the shoulder is a bit smaller. So what I did was, from the neckline, I measured only 2 inches. After that 3.5 inches neckline, I measured 2 inches and I connected it back to my armhole. When I'm cutting this out, I'll add ½ inch on the neckline on the shoulder and I'll cut exactly the armhole because I've already added that when I was cutting out the shoulder, because I added ½ inch to my shoulder. That is 14 divided by 2. I have 7 inches plus the extra ½ So now to cut the back, I placed my fabric on another pattern or another material and I'll just go ahead to trace out. So when you're tracing out, you're going to cut out the exact shape. So another thing I forgot is to also leave little allowance by the side of the waistline because we are going to take out the bulginess at the back of the dress, which will also affect our zipper allowance when you take out that ½ inch. So when you're marking yours or cutting yours out, do not cut out exactly at your waistline because you're going to also replace the bulginess or ½ inch you're going to take out at the waistline of the dress. So if you don't understand, this is it. I marked ½ inch here. So this ½ inch you took out, you're supposed to replace it at the waistline of your dress. If not, the zipper allowance there will be smaller. But you can also continue sewing yours this way. So I extended this all the way up and extended it down to the hip point. So this is to get rid of any bulginess at the back of the dress so that the dress will relax very well, especially because the back is very open. So after tracing or cutting this out, we'll go ahead to cut out the open back of the dress. So I made a mark at my under bust. That is where I want the opening to stop or start at the back of the dress. So at this point, if you haven't yet subscribed, please don't forget to also hit on the subscribe button. So after this, I went ahead to unpin my dress, and if you notice from that point at my shoulder, I still measured that same 2 inches, and I'm going to be taking it all the way down. So getting to this point, I'll create like a little C and I will connect it to my under bust. So after this, I'll just go ahead and I will cut this out. And after cutting this out, I'll go ahead to also cut out the lining. So here is my lining. If you notice, I took out about 1 inch from the actual length of the dress. So I'll go over to the sewing machine and I'll stitch this down with 1/2 inch. Also for the back pattern, I went ahead to repeat the same process. I took out 1 inch from the actual length of the lining and I'll stitch down with 1/2 inch. This is to create a turn up effect on my dress. So to sew, I'm going to pull up my dress this way and make the material to come up a bit by 1/2 inch. So if you put this up, your material will be meeting, so you'll be having a turn up effect of only 1/2 inch. So I pulled it up with 1/2 inch. I will go ahead and I will sew my dress all the way around with 1/2 inch, including the neckline, the armhole and the side. And also I will repeat the same process on the other side of this dress. I will stitch with 1/2 inch all the way to the lower part and also pull up the lining with the fabric. And after sewing, you're going to create an opening by the side of the dress, which you're going to be opening or turning the dress out from. I'm done sewing and this is what I have. I'll just go ahead and notch my dress all the way around. So when I was sewing, I forgot to mention that at the armhole of the back, you're not going to stitch it up. So after notching, I opened the side of the back and I'll also notch this round and I will turn it to the right side through the opening. So while opening it, you don't want to open something that is too much, just a little that you use in turning out the dress. So after I'm done turning it out, this is what I have, and this is also the opening that I have here. I'll just go ahead and place it together, top stitch it. So this is my back, this is the opening I have for that point. So I'll be turning this together. That is the armhole of the dress. So I'll take the shoulder of the front, place at the center of the back armhole, and I'm going to use the back armhole to wrap the shoulder of the front. After that, I'll stitch with 1/2 inch at this point. So after I'm done stitching with 1/2 inch, now I'll take the front and I'll pull it inside. I'll push it inside the back dress from the armhole. So that is why we left the armhole of the back, so that we can turn or put the front part of the dress inside the back pattern this way. So after I'm done turning it, this is what I have. I'm done pushing the front side inside the back. So now you're going to shift or push the shoulder in this way and you're going to stitch with 1/2 inch at the remaining part of the armhole of the dress. So remember, we made an opening here. You'll be turning it out from that point. So I'm done sewing and I went ahead to also notch this so that it's going to relax very well. So now I'm going to go ahead to pull this out from that part, and I'm going to bring it out from this part of the dress this way. So this is what I have. If you notice, the armhole part will be very neat. So I'll go ahead and repeat this same process at the other side of the dress, turn the armhole, and now I'll be putting the front and the back part of this dress on the other side and I will turn it just like I did. So I'll just go ahead and top stitch the side of the dress. So after I was done top stitching, this is what I have. So at the back, I went ahead to join the shoulder. I attached my zip and I shaped it with 1 inch at the lower part. So I was actually going to record that, but I forgot. So now remember, we added a 1.5 inches sewing allowance on my pattern. So we have used 1/2 inch to turn it with the lining. So what I have remaining is 1 inch. So I'll just go ahead and shape that 1 inch all the way to the lower part of my dress, and I'll also repeat it at this point. So if you feel that the hip point of your dress will have here like a pointy edge, go ahead to just smoothen it out. So I'll just mark this 1 inch all the way down. So if your measurement is accurate, by the time you're done shaping this, you don't need any extra shaping. So this is what I cut out for the ruffle, which is about 60 inches and 10 inches. So you should have about 3 to 4 of these, but I don't have enough fabric because I'm working with the fabric I have at home. I only made 2 of these. So I went ahead to sew and top stitch this. So now we are going to attach the ruffle to the dress. So I marked about 3 inches from the lower part of the dress, and also at the back part of the dress I also marked that. You can use 2.5 inches, 3 inches. It totally depends on the amount of ruffle you're going to attach. So I'll find the center of the ruffle and I'll take the part that I joined it with and I'll be placing on it. So now if you want your ruffle to be too much, you can go ahead and sew a gather stitch, or you can just split it slightly and you're going to sew on it. So you're going to be doing this like 3 times or 4, but just like I said, I'm working with the fabric I have at home, so I just went ahead to just create 2 ruffles for the dress. So I'll just continue pinning till I get the desired effect, and you pin to the back of the dress. So at this point, if you haven't yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for always supporting my channel. So for more tutorials on pattern drafting or illustration, you can also check out on my second channel, which is Draft with Maki. So for those asking me on how to drop their requested video, you can also chat me up on Instagram at Maki Sweets, which is my personal Instagram page, or my clothing brand page, which is Maki's Closet. So I'll just go ahead and pin this all the way to the end, and I will be stitching it down. So while pinning it also, you're going to follow that line that you marked, and you're going to be pinning it all the way around. So you want to make sure you follow that line so that the design or ruffle will have a straight and neat finishing. So I'll go ahead and finish this and top stitch with 1/2 inch. So this is what I have. So just like I said, you can go ahead to create more layers, and at this point you can just fold this in and stitch it with 1/2 inch. Go ahead to add more layers to your own dress, and I'll cut out the zip. So with the same process, I went ahead to add another layer to my dress. So after I was done sewing, this is the final look of my dress. If you find this video very interesting and educative, please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up and join us in our next video. Thanks.